In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a coin box just like this with magnets right here so it snaps closed. And I have a silver quarter in here that is an older one. You can see the older style of it. It has a different front and back than your normal quarters have now. It's pretty cool. These boxes are really simple. I just used some scrap walnut I had. You could use maple or cherry or really any wood you want. But I have a few of these and I'm going to show you how to make them. I started out with a board of walnut that was this size and was longer. Then on the table saw, we just cut it in half and then cut slits, cut a bunch of these out. So I have a bag full of bottoms and tops. The bottoms are thicker so I can take a Forstner bit and drill a hole down into here that fits the quarter, and then the top is just going to be the lid. I'm using 400 grit to get rid of the table saw marks. Now that I have both sides sanded, I'm going to drill the hole into the bottom piece. Now I need to mark out where the middle of this piece of wood is. So it's 1.5 inches, I mean 1 3/4 inches, 5/8. And right there is our center point. I'm just going to take one of the Forstner bits and use that to make my mark of where the center is. Now I'm going to go ahead and drill the hole. Now with the 400 grit sandpaper, I'm going to break the edge of the hole that I just drilled, get the burrs off. Now I'm going to apply my finish. For this I'm going to use lacquer. Now let's put it on the other half. I got these hinges on Amazon. I think it was a pack of 60 and they weren't very expensive. I don't remember the exact price of what it cost, but it wasn't very much. On the back of these, I'm gonna put 2 hinges. If I put one of these hinges, they're kind of flimsy. So I'm gonna use 2 and that makes it much more sturdy. On this box here, it's very sturdy, it doesn't move at all. So you need 2 hinges, because these are small. Whenever they're small, they're not super stiff. What I'm going to do is line it up just about perfect. Then I'm going to take a pencil and mark right in the middle of that hole. And then the same thing on the other side. And now I have those pencil marks. I'm going to mark each one of these with a nail, and then I'll go and drill the hole. Now with this small hand drill, I'm just going to put this in place. And since the bit is so small, it doesn't take much time to drill, and I just do it by hand. Now we'll go ahead and put in these screws. Now with the hinges all secured, I'm going to take out the box. And there it is. It's very sturdy. It's nice. See, whenever I close the lid, it doesn't close the whole way because the hinges are a little bit too tight. To fix that, what I'm going to do is just loosen up these screws. Now with these hinges loose, you can see how the box closes normally. So what I'm going to do is just put my fingers here at the end so there's pressure on the hinges, just like that. And then I'm going to tighten them this way. Now I got this to close just like it's supposed to. What I did was I took this ruler, I stuck it in the back here, and then whenever I closed it, I'm able to apply pressure to those hinges, and I was able to stretch them out. And whenever I did that, then it closes. Now for the magnets, what I'm going to do is take 2 of them off and separate them, which is easier said than done. With these 2 magnets, what I'm going to do is put them, one right there, just set them in place, and then I'll align them, just eyeball it, get them in the corners, make sure they look the same. Now that we have the magnets in place, I'm just going to close this slowly. And then whenever I close it, I'm just going to squeeze down and it's going to make imprints. Now I'm going to mark the center of that hole and the center of this hole up here. Now I'm gonna drill these holes. Now I'll test fit this magnet, and that sits flush, so I know that hole is correct. Now let's drill the bottom one. And now the second hole is also flush with the magnet. Now before we glue these magnets in, I'm going to take the two of them I'm going to use, stick them together, and then place them in this hole so we know the correct polarity, and then I can just close the lid, make sure everything fits, and that'll work. But one mistake I made on the first box here was whenever I glued the magnets in, they were reversing each other. They weren't actually trying to take each other in, so it was repelling. We want to make sure you get the correct polarity. Now with the screwdriver, I'm going to hold the magnet just like that. Then I'm going to take my super glue and just take a drip of it. Now I'm going to place the magnet down into the glue. Now we're going to wipe it off. It's okay if you wipe it off with your finger. Just make sure as soon as you wipe it off, you get it off your finger. Or you could use a rag, but it's probably best actually if you use a rag. Now I'll take the next magnet, drop it right onto that one, so I know the correct polarity that it needs to be in. I'll take it off and put it on the screwdriver, just like that. And then we'll take the glue and put one drip of it. And now we'll drop our magnet down in there. Now we're gonna let this dry before we snap the lid closed. While we're waiting for the glue to dry, we can cover up the bottom. What I've done before on my previous boxes is I take a circle of felt from a sheet and I cut it out and put it in there. Right now I cannot find that felt. I looked everywhere and I can't find it. So I'm just gonna use a piece of construction paper. To get around the right size, I'm gonna take the quarter, place it on there, and then cut in a square around that. And then on this quarter, I'm just gonna round it off, leaving a margin around the outside of the quarter. So now I got that to fits in there nicely. We can take our quarter, put it in there. Now that these are dried enough, we can close this. And that has a nice snap to it. That's nice. So now we have a finished coin box. Now, actually how I figured out this, how to make this, I originally made my first one as a ring box. I made a box for my ring, set it in there, and then I can close it. But if you drill a hole a little bit more shallow to fit a coin, the same size hole works with the coin. I was just kind of playing around with it and I realized that a quarter fit in there perfect. So then this came about, just the coin box, which I really like because it doesn't use much wood and you can sell these and people definitely like them. And I really like the improvements that I've made over the time that I've been making these. The little magnets and using 2 hinges instead of 1 just makes it a nicer box overall.